What if I told you the wealthiest families don't tell their kids to get a good job, save 10% of their income, and max out their 401k? You won't find some of these lessons in a standard textbook because they're passed down behind the closed doors of the world's richest families. For them, wealth isn't just a number in a bank account. It's a legacy, a responsibility, and a game played with an entirely different set of rules. While many people are taught to work for money, the children of old money are often taught how to make money work for them, how to control everything while owning nothing, and how to build a dynasty that can last for centuries. Today, we're opening that door. We're uncovering the mindset and financial rules the elite often use to preserve their fortunes for generations, from their surprising views on work to their strict rules about spending. These aren't just tips, they are pillars of a financial empire. If you think you know how money works, get ready to have your beliefs challenged. The first secret they often teach their children is maybe the most important, and it has nothing to do with investing. Chapter 1. The first rule of wealth is silence. The first and most important lesson frequently drilled into the children of old money is a simple, almost paradoxical rule. You don't talk about the money. In a world obsessed with flaunting wealth on social media, where new money can sometimes scream success from the digital rooftops, old money tends to do the exact opposite. They cultivate an environment of intense privacy. This isn't about being ashamed of wealth, it's a deeply ingrained strategy for preservation and protection. Children may learn from a young age that talking about family finances, assets, or inheritance is considered vulgar. It's taboo. Why the obsession with silence? First, it's a defense mechanism. Obvious displays of wealth attract unwanted attention from the public, the media, and opportunistic people. Old money families tend to understand that anonymity is a form of power. Some people might pay for sponsored content to get their name in a magazine, but many of the ultra-wealthy would prefer to stay off public wealth rankings like those in Forbes entirely. They know that public knowledge of wealth can make the family a target, turning them into a spectacle rather than letting them operate quietly. Second, this rule of silence can be a tool to shape a child's character. By discouraging talk about money as a measure of status, parents aim to sidestep the corrosive effects of entitlement. The goal is to raise stewards, not spoiled heirs. When wealth is treated as a private family responsibility rather than a personal trophy, it can foster humility and a sense of duty. Kids are taught that their worth should come from their character, their education, and their contributions, not the family's balance sheet. This can be a stark contrast to the tendency to spend lavishly on status symbols as a way to prove you've made it. Old money often has nothing to prove. Their position is secure, and their spending may reflect that. It's about quiet quality over loud luxury. They tend to buy things for their intrinsic value, craftsmanship, and longevity, not for the logo. Finally, this silence is strategic. It can give them an advantage in business. When no one knows the true extent of your resources, you can operate from a position of strength. Competitors can't easily gauge your capacity, and you maintain control over your public narrative. It's a lesson that extends beyond personal conversations into their financial lives. Legal structures like trusts and family offices are often designed specifically to create a veil of privacy. So, while parts of the world are busy posting their financial wins, the children of old money are often learning the immense power of moving in silence, understanding that true wealth whispers. Chapter 2. Your last name is a company, not just a title. For many children of old money, their family name is not just an identity, it's an enterprise. They are taught to see their family as a multi-generational corporation, and their role is to one day serve on its board. This is a fundamental mindset shift. The average person thinks about their career, salary, and retirement. Old money thinks in terms of dynasties. They are not just managing personal wealth, they are stewarding a legacy. This concept, known as family governance, is a cornerstone of old money education. It's the idea that a family must be run with the same seriousness as a major corporation to survive. There's a widely cited proverb in wealth management: shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. While the hard data is debated, the saying reflects a real fear that wealth built by one generation can be lost by the third. Old money families are acutely aware of this and build entire systems to defy it. How do they do this? They often formalize the family structure. This isn't just a loose collection of relatives, it's an organization with rules and roles. They create family councils, hold regular meetings, and may even draft family mission statements. These aren't for idle chit-chat. They are formal sessions to discuss investment strategy, philanthropy, and the education of the next generation. Younger children might sit in on these meetings from an early age, not to participate, but simply to listen and absorb the values and vocabulary of wealth management. They learn that the family's assets are not a personal piggy bank, but a collective resource. This mindset deeply influences their view of work. A child of old money is often taught that their primary job is to protect and grow the family name. This means upholding the family's reputation and avoiding behavior that could bring scandal to the family brand. Their actions, public and private, reflect on the entire enterprise. This instills a powerful sense of discipline and long-term thinking. An heir may come to understand that their inheritance is conditional on their responsible stewardship. Their role is to leave the company, the family legacy, in a better position than they found it. This transforms wealth from a simple privilege into a profound duty. Chapter 3. The difference between a paycheck and true wealth. One of the most profound lessons old money kids often learn is the critical distinction between income and wealth. While many people, even high-earning professionals, are conditioned to chase a higher salary, old money kids are taught that a paycheck can be the slowest path to a real fortune. They learn that true wealth isn't measured by how much you earn, but how much your assets earn for you. The core principle is simple. A job gives you income, but assets can give you freedom. Income is active. You have to trade your time for it. If you stop working, the money stops. Wealth, on the other hand, is built on passive and portfolio income, money generated from assets you own. These are the cash-flowing machines that work for you 24/7. This is why these families focus relentlessly on asset acquisition. From a young age, children are taught to think like investors, not just employees. The dinner table conversation might not be about getting a promotion, but about identifying opportunities. They learn to analyze different asset classes: real estate that generates rent, stocks that pay dividends, or ownership in private businesses. They're taught that the goal isn't just to have money, but to deploy that money as an army of dollar employees that go out and bring back more. This is a fundamental divergence from the conventional path of go to school, get a good job, climb the ladder. The old money path is more like go to school, learn how to acquire assets, and build systems that generate income. This creates a different relationship with work. For many, a job is a necessity. For an old money heir, a career is often a choice, pursued for fulfillment or experience, but it may not be the primary source of their financial security. Their wealth comes from the performance of their family's portfolio. This allows them to take risks a salaried employee couldn't, like working in lower-paying but influential fields like art or public service. They are also taught about tax efficiency. A high salary might look good, but it's often taxed at the highest rates. They learn that in many countries, like the US, income from long-term capital gains and qualified dividends is often taxed at a more favorable rate. They're taught to think about tax strategy from day one, understanding that it's not just what you make, but what you keep that builds a dynasty. Chapter 4. Debt is a tool for the rich and a trap for the poor. In the average household, debt can be a scary word associated with stress and struggle. Mainstream advice often rightly warns against high-interest consumer debt from credit cards or personal loans. But in the world of old money, children are taught a different lesson. Debt can also be a powerful tool. And, like any powerful tool, it's dangerous in untrained hands. But for those who know how to use it, it's one of the most effective instruments for wealth creation. The secret lies in understanding the difference between bad debt and good debt, a distinction that, to be fair, is also made in many standard personal finance books. Bad debt is used to finance consumption, buying things that lose value. That new car, the latest phone, the vacation paid for with a credit card. These drain your net worth. Good debt, on the other hand, is debt used to acquire assets that are expected to increase in value or generate cash flow. Old money families teach their children how to use leverage, other people's money, to multiply their returns. Why use $1 million of your own dollars to buy one property when you could use it as a down payment to control $5 million worth of real estate? You borrow money at a low interest rate to invest in something projected to yield a much higher return. The difference, the spread, is profit, amplified by leverage. This extends beyond real estate. They might use debt to finance a business acquisition or expand a company. A particularly sophisticated strategy is known as buy, borrow, die. First, they buy appreciating assets like stocks. Second, instead of selling those assets to fund their lifestyle, which would trigger capital gains taxes, they borrow against the value of their portfolio. Because loan proceeds aren't considered income, this money isn't immediately taxed. They can live off these loans while their assets continue to appreciate. Finally, under current U.S. law, when they die, their heirs inherit the assets at a stepped-up basis, resetting the cost basis and wiping out the capital gains tax liability. Now, this isn't a magic trick. The strategy depends heavily on low interest rates, stable asset values, and current tax laws, which can and do change. But it's a masterclass in financial engineering that shows how differently debt is viewed. For one person, it's a burden. For another, it's a sophisticated tool to amplify returns and manage taxes. Chapter 5. The University of Life, not just a university degree. While a top-tier formal education is often a high priority in an old money upbringing, it's usually seen as a starting point, not the destination. The truly essential education often happens outside the classroom, in family meetings, through mentorships, and in cultivating a life of the mind. As the saying goes, a formal education can make you a living, but self-education can make you a fortune. This lifelong learning starts early. Financial education isn't a one-time money talk, but a continuous curriculum. It might start with an allowance, but one that is often structured to instill key principles. The famous Rockefeller family, for instance, is said to have used a detailed ledger system for their children, teaching them to track every penny to learn budgeting and smart choices. This is designed to teach delayed gratification and the difference between needs and wants from the get-go. When children get older, the education becomes more sophisticated. They might be invited to sit in on meetings with the family's wealth advisors, lawyers, and accountants. This is their real-world MBA. They learn about estate planning, tax strategies, and portfolio management by observing the professionals who manage their family's dynasty. Some families even give their teenage children a small portfolio to manage or a budget for a charitable fund, letting them make real, controlled decisions and learn from their mistakes in a low-stakes environment. Beyond finance, there's often a heavy emphasis on intellectual and cultural cultivation. Old money values frequently center on an appreciation of arts, literature, and history. They're encouraged to read widely, travel, and develop expertise in subjects with no direct financial payoff. Why? Because this builds intellectual capital. It hones critical thinking and builds a powerful network of connections with influential people who share these interests. Hobbies like equestrian sports or art collecting are not just for leisure. They can be strategic networking opportunities in circles that are hard to access. This holistic education is designed to create a well-rounded leader, someone capable of not just managing a fortune, but commanding respect in any room they enter. Now that we've covered the foundational mindsets, the power of silence, the family as an enterprise, the focus on assets, the strategic use of debt, and real-world education, we're about to get into the nuts and bolts. The next lesson is about the legal structures they build to make their wealth highly resilient. But before we pull back that curtain, if you're finding this look into the hidden world of wealth eye-opening, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We go deep on the financial strategies that separate the 1% from everyone else, and you won't want to miss what's next. Now, let's talk about the systems old money uses to protect its legacy. Chapter 6. The Ironclad System for Preserving Wealth, Trusts and Legal Fortresses. If there's a secret weapon in the old money playbook, it's the masterful use of legal structures, primarily trusts. The wealthy understand a crucial principle: control can be more important than direct ownership. To many people, owning something means having your name on the title. To the ultra-rich, that can be a rookie mistake. They often prefer to own nothing but control everything, and trusts are the primary vehicle for achieving this. A trust is a legal entity that holds assets on behalf of a beneficiary. When assets are moved into a trust, they no longer belong to the individual. They belong to the trust itself. This simple move has profound consequences. The rules of the trust, laid out in a detailed legal document, dictate how, when, and to whom the assets can be distributed. This allows the wealth creator to exert control over their fortune long after they are gone. Old money kids are taught that trusts are fortresses that can protect the family's wealth. First, there's asset protection. How much protection a trust offers depends heavily on the type of trust and local laws. Certain irrevocable trusts can shield assets from personal creditors, lawsuits, or divorce settlements that might target an individual family member. If an heir makes a bad decision, the core family wealth held in the right kind of trust can remain untouched. Second, trusts are used for tax planning. The estate tax can claim a huge portion of a large fortune. Families may use sophisticated, irrevocable trusts to move assets out of their personal estates long before they die. The future growth of those assets happens outside of their taxable estate, potentially saving millions. Tools like generation-skipping trusts can be used to transfer wealth to grandchildren, though they are subject to their own complex generation-skipping transfer tax. It's not a simple loophole, but a complex planning tool. Third, trusts are a mechanism for enforcing discipline. The trust document can include incentive clauses. For example, a beneficiary might only receive money if they graduate from college, hold a job, or pass a drug test. This is how old money can enforce its values from beyond the grave, encouraging heirs to be responsible stewards. Some families even use silent trusts, where children don't know the full extent of their inheritance until they reach a certain age, like 30 or 35, forcing them to build their own work ethic first. This intricate web of trusts is often managed by a family office, a private firm that handles the investments, legal affairs, and education of a single family. This institutionalization of wealth is a powerful defensive strategy, making the family fortune resilient and tax-efficient. Chapter 7. Money is earned, not given. The paradox of the $1 million allowance. One of the biggest paradoxes in the world of old money can be their approach to giving money to their children. You might imagine kids from wealthy families with bottomless credit cards, but the reality is often the opposite. Many old money parents are famously strict about allowances, not because they're stingy, but because they see it as the primary training ground for instilling a work ethic. Their philosophy is often simple: money is earned, not just given. The lesson they want to impart is that money is a result of creating value. An allowance is rarely a simple handout. It's often structured more like a salary. Children might be given a list of responsibilities, and their pay is tied to their work. This immediately helps to sever the link between affection and money. Money isn't something you get for being loved, it's something you get for being productive. This simple shift helps prevent an entitlement mentality. Furthermore, what they are expected to do with this money is just as important. Many families implement a 3-jar system, one for spending, one for saving, and one for giving. This teaches budgeting from day one.
The spending jar gives them the freedom to make their own choices and learn from mistakes. The saving jar teaches delayed gratification, and the giving jar is crucial for teaching social responsibility, a core tenet of old money mindset. As the children get older, this can get more sophisticated. Some parents offer a family match for savings, similar to a 401k match, powerfully demonstrating the concept of compounding. Others, like investor Mark Cuban has discussed publicly, teach their kids to view savings as the foundation for future investing, not just a holding pen for future spending. This rigorous approach ensures that by the time an heir inherits a significant sum, they've already had years of hands-on training in earning, budgeting, and saving. They've learned the value of a dollar because they've had to work for it. This is in sharp contrast to the stories we hear of lottery winners who get a sudden windfall with no financial education and squander it. The old money allowance system is a slow, deliberate vaccination against that fate.
Chapter 8. Philanthropy is not a tax write-off. It's a pillar of power. For many people, philanthropy is an afterthought. For many old money families, it's a central pillar of their dynasty, as integral as investment management. They teach their children that giving money away isn't just a moral duty or a way to get a tax deduction. It is a powerful tool for building a legacy, shaping society, and consolidating influence. From a young age, children are often actively involved in the family's charitable activities. This serves several purposes. First, it can be an antidote to the isolating influence of extreme wealth. By exposing children to social problems, parents can instill empathy and perspective. They are taught that their fortune is a resource to be used for the good of the community. Second, philanthropy is taught as a form of strategic investment, an investment in the family's reputation and social capital. A prominent family name on a university building or hospital wing isn't just generosity, it's a permanent marker of the family's legacy. It builds goodwill and a powerful network. The boards of major charities and universities are populated by some of the world's most influential people. By participating in these circles, families gain access to networks and information that are unavailable to outsiders. Children learn this by doing. A common practice is giving them their own small grant-making budget to research and donate to causes they care about. They are required to perform due diligence, present their case to the family, and report back on the impact. This is a hands-on education in critical analysis and financial oversight. Finally, structured giving through family foundations or donor-advised funds provides another layer of financial control and tax efficiency. Assets can be moved into these charitable entities, generating a tax deduction, while the family retains control over how the funds are distributed. In this world, giving isn't about shrinking your wealth, it's about transforming it into a different, more enduring kind of power. Chapter 9. The Family as a Board of Directors. While the idea of the family as a company is the guiding philosophy, the practical application is often the family council, which functions much like a corporate board of directors. This is where abstract values are transformed into concrete action. Old money children aren't just taught financial principles, they are often integrated into a formal decision-making structure designed to ensure the family operates as a cohesive unit. A family council is a governing body of family members that meets regularly to make decisions about shared assets, business interests, and philanthropy. This is the forum where the long-term vision is set and accountability is enforced. The creation of such a structure is a deliberate defense against the single greatest threat to generational wealth: family conflict. When communication is poor or decisions are made by a single person, it can breed resentment that tears a fortune apart. The family council institutionalizes communication. Children are introduced to this structure early. At first, they may attend meetings just as observers. As they mature, they are given a voice. They might be asked to present a report or share their perspective. This is their training ground for leadership. It teaches them how to build consensus, skills that are just as valuable in the boardroom as they are at the dinner table. The council's responsibilities are vast. They often oversee the family office, set investment strategy, and establish policies for family members who want to join the family business. They may also develop and update a family charter or constitution. This is a written document that outlines the family's core values, its mission, and its rules. It serves as a guiding star, ensuring that future generations will understand the principles the family stands on. This structure provides a clear framework for managing complex family dynamics. By teaching their children to be responsible members of this board of directors, old money families are preparing them not just to inherit a fortune, but to lead an institution. So, what have we learned? The secrets of old money aren't about finding the next hot stock. They're about a disciplined mindset that is cultivated over a lifetime. It's a mindset often built on 9 core pillars. First, the power of silence and discretion. Second, viewing the family as an enterprise to be managed like a corporation. Third, focusing relentlessly on acquiring cash-flowing assets, not just earning a high income. Fourth, mastering the strategic use of debt as a tool for leverage. Fifth, prioritizing a lifelong real-world education. Seventh, building legal structures like trusts to protect wealth. Eighth, instilling a work ethic by ensuring money is earned. Seventh, using philanthropy as a strategic tool to build legacy and influence. And finally, creating a formal family governance structure to ensure unity across generations. These lessons, passed down from one generation to the next, create a powerful cycle of wealth preservation. The most empowering takeaway, however, is that these principles aren't just for a select few. While you may not have a trust fund, the mindset is universal. Adopting the perspective of a steward, focusing on building assets, educating yourself relentlessly, and thinking in terms of generations, not just paychecks, is a blueprint anyone can learn from. It's not about how much money you have now, it's about changing how you think about money forever. If this journey into the world of old money has changed your perspective, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear these lessons. And I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 secrets surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. For more deep dives into the strategies of the wealthy, make sure you are subscribed. Thank you for watching.